Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Well, this is a story how my Evil 10 burned down at Carmax. Uh, about a year ago, I think it's about a year ago. I think this happened like April last year. Um, I sold my 370Z. Um, 370. I had a 370Z before. I'll post some pictures here of it. That was my baby. I've had it since like 2012, 2010, somewhere around there, and been through so many different versions of it. And I was like, I'm never gonna sell that car. Um, well, finally came a point, about a year and a half ago, where I decided to sell it. I was like, you know what? I've always wanted an Evo. Evo is one of my dream cars to have, and you know what? I ended up selling it. Bought an Evo, this Evo here, how you see currently burning down. Um, Bought the Evo. So before anything, if a deal seems too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. So I found this Evo at a marketplace here local to Houston. That's where I'm from. I think it was for about 20K. It was a nice Evo MR, which at that point I thought MR was the best Evo stuff. Now definitely wouldn't buy a MR again just for the transmission issues. Well, I found Evo, this Evo marketplace for 20K, and man, I thought it was like the best deal ever. It came fully loaded. It was the SSS package, if I'm not mistaken. So leather Recaros, the Brembos, BBS wheels, you name it, had it. Of course, it had some nice upgrades to it. I'll put a picture here of the engine bay, and apparently the transmission was upgraded by Cosmic, which is one of the big Evo shops around here in Houston. So you know what, man, I thought it was like the clutch just got upgraded. So of course 20K, it was a no brainer. It was an amazing deal. Like I had to get it. So convinced my wife to do it. I ended up getting it. Went to go check it out, test drive it, and you know what? This is my first Evo, so I didn't really know what to look for, what things to watch out for, or, what stuff when I test drove it. So it seemed great. The guy seemed very at that moment he seemed very honest about everything. He gave me a ride. We checked it out and everything, and okay, ended up buying the car. Well, this I also should have done before. I the inspection, the buying inspection. I did a post purchase inspection, which I should do in a pre purchase inspection. Well, come to find out, let me see if I can find out everything that was wrong with it. I should still have the email. I took it to Cosmic. It was a pretty good deal. 300. I think it was around $300 to get a inspection of everything. Check it out, see what's going on. And came back. Let's see. Let's see if I can look it up. Okay, well I can't find the inspection report, but let's see if I can. Pretty sure I remember because there's a lot of things that are wrong with it. Let's see. The axle boots were leaking. The manifold was cracked. The exhaust manifold was cracked. The turbo was cracked. What else? It had a weird starting issue that I didn't notice when I went to go check the car. It was taking way too long to turn on, which the guy told me was normal because it's been tuned. Let's see. What else was wrong? Oh, they did a check of the inside the engine, inspection inside the engine, and apparently the pistons were not looking good. There was the piston sleeves, the inside of them was not looking good, as in like they were like burnt. I think that's what they told me it was. They were like really, and there's like some chipping on there. So of course that told me compression wasn't horrible. I think it was like off by like 10 points. I don't remember. I knew he said it wasn't that bad, but of course you can tell, was it, perfect or really good. It looked like the car was really, it was really used. So it was a lot of things, and of course, at that moment, I thought it was like, you know what, this is it. Like this sucks. Like I bought a car that's pretty much broken. I contacted the guy to see what we can work out. What can we do about this? Pretty much his response was like, I sold the car. It was good when I gave it to you, and that's it. I washed my hands. I'm good. Now I really don't see how you wouldn't know those things were wrong with the car. But that's what he said. I can't say anything about it. I can't accuse him for anything because it's his word against my word. So I wouldn't know. I posted up on the. I'm part of the Houston. I was part of the Houston Evo group at that point, and they were like, how sketchy that was. How there's no way he could have not known. What was wrong with the car? Those things aren't wrong. I might have been forgetting something. I know there was quite a bit of things that were, but those were like the main things that were really like wrong with the car. So what? I was like, oh well, this sucks. I can't do anything about it. Car's bought. And it was within a few weeks, a month of this. So I went on to try to rebuild the car. I got a new manifold from MAP, exhaust manifold. I got another turbo. There was a guy from the I guess National Evo 10 group, and I kind of put the story out there to see what kind of advice I can get. And luckily, it was amazing guy, perfect, good guy. He sent me. All I had to do was pay shipping, and he sent me a almost new stock um, stock turbo. So that was a lifesaver. That saved me some few $100s. Oh, and also whenever I went to go drop off the car or when I went to pick up the car, another red flag. It was pretty much with dead battery. So that was kind of sketchy too, and I didn't think about it. I guess I was just too excited that I was getting an Evo, picking up an Evo, but that was another little red flag. Okay, so I started rebuilding it. I took it. There's a local guy that works on Evos here. Great guy, really good person, and he replaced all my parts, did little work for me, and kind of started getting back to where I was going. I got it tuned with Chag Tune. Also, great guy, got things working on. So at this point I was kind of already traumatized of like the whole situation. Everything that happened, putting all this money into the car, and all this stuff. Well, you know what? I decided to sell it. I was like, hey, I told my wife, let's take it to Carmax, see what kind of deal offer we can get, and then maybe get rid of it and start all over. Let's do this, because I was at this point I was already the car was pretty much good. It was pretty much not good, but I was kind of already like traumatized of the whole situation. So I was like, all right, let's start all over. So I took it to CarMax. They offered me a good price. For what pretty much almost, I think it was what I paid for it. And they offered me a good price, and I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's sell it. Well, before they give you the check or whatever, they do an inspection. They inspected the car, it looked good, and I guess I took it for a test drive. Well, whenever it came back for the test drive, me and my wife and my daughter were inside the Carmax, and all of a sudden we hear somebody say, "There's a car on fire outside." And of course, first, the first thing you want to do is go check it out. What car it is and stuff. Well, it was my car. It was on fire. It was smoking, and this is where where I came out and started recording, just for insurance purposes or all this stuff. Yeah, I was, even though the car was gonna be sold, I was still like, oh man, it's my car. I never had a car burn down on me and all that stuff. I still to this day don't know what happened to it, why it burned down. I've heard or researched things about Evos burning down because it get really hot inside the I guess the turbo. There's exhaust manifold catches on fire. There was no leaking anywhere that I know of, so I'm not sure what happened in the test drive, but it caused this to happen. Luckily, the CarMax manager was really good. He was great. They ended up buying the car for the offer they gave me because it happened while they were driving in or whatever the test drive happened. I wasn't upset. I didn't make a scene or anything like that. I was still kind of in shock and a little traumatized. But they handled it great. I'm not talking down to Carmax. They did an awesome job. They did what they could to try to stop the fire, and then they pretty much bought the car. You know, even after it burned down. So yeah, pretty much that's what transpired in the situation. This was like 3 months, I think, 2, 3 months, maybe two, from me buying the car that all this happened. It kind of traumatized me. Now, I sold the car, ended up buying a car for my wife instead of buying another race car for myself. But I still had an itch, so I decided to buy a GTI. To still have something, little fast race car to have around. So I bought the GTI, as you can see in the other videos. That's what I'm working on. But I just thought share this wonderful story of my traumatizing experience with an Evo 10. But I still, hopefully one day I'll hope I still get to buy another Evo 10. It definitely won't be an MR, and I'll definitely get an inspection beforehand to make sure this doesn't happen again. But yeah, thank you for hearing out my story.